by Sagicor Bank is
Tonight in CVM News at 7, charged, a 17-year-old charged with murder of Ocheria's high schoolmate. Roll them back, stakeholders speak ahead of budget presentation. And we'll be fine. Health Minister seeks to reassure country and Cuba amid Cuban program cancellation. It's Monday, so we'll have small biz, big dreams, and in sports, the latest on the West Indies travel arrangements from India.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Tune in to Lead Story. Weekdays at 6 p.m. Hosted by Jody Ann Quarry.
Brought to you by
Horizon, a new loan product from Access Financial Services.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for Monday, March 9, 2026. I'm Nika Lewis. Thanks for joining us. Up first this evening, a 17-year-old male student has been charged with murder following an incident that resulted in the death of another student at the Ocheria's High School in St. Ann last week. The deceased has been identified as 16-year-old Devoni Shera of Tay Street in Ocheria's St. Ann. Reports from the St. Ann's Bay Police are that at about 3 p.m. on Wednesday, March 4, the 17-year-old allegedly used a metal chair to hit Shera on the head, causing a wound that left him unconscious. Shera was rushed to the hospital where he later died while undergoing treatment. The accused teen was handed over to the police later the same day and was charged on Thursday, March 5, in the presence of his parent after eyewitness statements implicated him. The teen is scheduled to appear before the family court on Wednesday, March 18. Head of the St. Ann Police Superintendent Carlos Russell spoke with CVM News.
On Friday of last week, a 17-year-old who attended Ocheria's High School was charged for the murder of Devoni Shera, 16-year-old student. He was brought before the court on Friday, that is the family court, where he was remanded to appear again on the 18th of March. So he is now at a juvenile detention center, and that is where we are at this moment.
Well, the government is moving to reassure Jamaicans about the stability of the country's health sector following the discontinuation of the Cuban medical program. In a media briefing Monday, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton provided an update on the status of the island's health system after the end of the over 50-year technical cooperation program between Jamaica and the Spanish-speaking island. The health minister says the government has made an offer to the Cuban medical professionals currently serving in Jamaica.
All of the Cubans who are here have been offered through the embassy, through the ambassador, the opportunity for those Cubans to remain here, but under a different arrangement through direct contracting, and that offer remains in place. And so just want to conclude that we do not see the termination as a decision to discontinue the relationship. It's really around the format of the relationship, and that has been made very clear.
The minister also announced that in the event that all Cubans withdraw their services, plans are being put in place to ensure that healthcare delivery across the island remains uninterrupted.
In the short term, the ministry will be working with the regional health authorities to activate what we call a contingency measure to maintain critical services. So that's our short-term surge plan, which includes revision of duty rosters, increased use of overtime and extended work hours. The other short-term measure that is being discussed for implementation is the engagement of some outsourcing of some services through the private sector, and Cabinet has given its go-ahead for that. So I want to mention in particular radiotherapy services and cataract or surgeries, specifically linked to the Cuba eye care program at St. Joseph's.
In the meantime, the health minister further notes that eye care operations will continue at the St. Joseph's Hospital and Medical Center. He says patients who previously received surgery are encouraged to attend their scheduled follow-ups to ensure proper recovery and continued care.
The Jamaica Cuba eye care program will continue. That's the intention. Its operations will continue by the Cuban team up to the 20th of March. There's an agreement on that. And for the remainder of the program's operations, services will be limited to surgery and post-operative care. Now, what this means is that for surgical procedures for patients who are already scheduled and follow-up care for patients who have already undergone eye surgery and retina-related post-operative treatment and monitoring. So those who are prepped for surgery, and I think the number I got was about 130 something, 140. Those procedures will take place. So those who have those appointments, not to worry, that will take place. In addition to that, the post-surgery care will continue under the program using the same staff, Cuban healthcare workers, up until that time.
Meanwhile, more than 100 female farmers received checks as part of a $54 million donation today. 3 corporate entities on Monday. Crystal Williams tells us more.
123 female farmers on Monday received a share of $44 million donated by Grace Kennedy General Insurance, Hypro Limited, and charity group Care International. The farmers are part of the Jamaica network of rural women producers. Simone Borasing is from Clarendon. She recently expanded her goat farming business.
After Hurricane Melissa, a lot of farmers, we had to find different ways and means of getting an income. So one of the things that a lot of us we engaged in crop farming and other ways of farming that we thought would be viable. Now, for this, we needed the income. And this check is something that would help us to buy a lot of the resources that we needed.
Orette Duncan is Client and Partner Services Manager at GK General Insurance.
These women included 10 poultry and livestock farmers, which will be sponsored by Hypro, and the balance of 110 farmers, which will be sponsored by Care International.
Speaking at the handing over ceremony, Agriculture Minister Floyd Green explained that in order to provide year-round protection to women farmers from weather-related risks, additional resources are still needed. He noted that barriers to funding for women farmers need to be reduced.
The insurance coverage is working. But with that said, there are some things that are needed. On the one hand, we need greater numbers of farmer enrollment. And we need to see how we can leverage partnerships to make that possible. In order for that for the numbers to increase, we need partnerships of this nature.
The government has reserved 25% of lands in agri-parks for women and young farmers. But Minister Green says there is an equal need for capital as well as insurance.
The women who have access to the 25% of the land in our agri-parks now get land preparation free for up to an acre. They also get free inputs for up to an acre. We're especially focused on our women farmers.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is calling for stronger regional cooperation to tackle crime and violence across the Caribbean. He made the comments during a meeting with CARICOM representatives recently. Kevin Black has the details.
Dr. Andrew Holness says crime and violence are increasingly affecting countries across the region, making cooperation among CARICOM states more important than ever. He expressed this sentiment while having a sit-down with a CARICOM representative recently.
Crime and violence is a common problem
huge one.
10, 15 years ago, maybe not so much. But now we are seeing a widespread challenge of law and order, crime, justice issues. And the community has come together to coordinate our efforts legislatively, to cooperate on law enforcement.
Dr. Holness also pointed to regional collaboration through CARICOM as an important tool in addressing the problem. He says while differences may exist among member states, working together allows the region to develop stronger solutions to common challenges.
There's a sense in the community that it is fraying at the ends, that there is the new word is fragmentation, that there's fragmentation in the community. I try to point out that in any community, any family, there will be a diversity of opinion, but that doesn't mean that the institution is failing. In fact, that is a sign of the strength of the institution, that it can produce different perspectives. One of the things that the region has done well is to address common problems.
CARICOM high-level representative for law and criminal justice, Godfrey Smith, said the entity is actively developing strategies and recommendations aimed at improving citizen security across the Caribbean.
But I'm here making a courtesy call on Prime Minister Holness in my capacity as CARICOM high-level representative for law and criminal justice, which is a very fancy title, but what it means is I'm supposed to be coming up with recommendations and strategies for how we as a region can curb and try to reduce crime and enhance citizen security in the region. And one of the things we are grateful for, Prime Minister, is the fact that Jamaica has agreed, since it's received a certain level of accreditation in policing, the community felt that that could be the starting point for a regional center of excellence for policing.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
More CVM News at 7 in just a moment.
Watagwan. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Get informed, get involved. Tune in to the National Budget opening presentation on Tuesday, March 10 as the Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, outlines the central government budget for fiscal year 2026-27. The national budget is everybody's business. Visit mof.gov.jm for more info. Watch live on CVM at 3 p.m.
Thanks so much for staying with us. Still in the local news, another murder in the Klansman trial. A prosecution witness on Monday recounted the moment he returned home to his St. Catherine residence to find a man wounded and another lying on his veranda unresponsive. Carla Ramdeen was in court and files this report.
Another prosecution witness testified on Monday in relation to the murder of William Christian on April 18, 2020 at 75 Henry Crescent, Fairview Park, Spanish Town. The witness, a mechanic, told the court that Mr. Christian had just returned home from Mandeville and was experiencing difficulties with the vehicle, so he called him to repair his car. According to the witness, after he completed the repairs, Mr. Christian took him home to 75 Henry Crescent, where both men had a drink on the veranda with another man, the witness called Philip. The witness said later Mr. Christian lent him his car and he left the men for about half an hour to go to the Winterpen Square to purchase food items. He testified that when he returned, he saw Philip coming from the side of the house with his foot caught blood up and Mr. Christian lying across the veranda with multiple gunshot wounds. The witness said he threw Mr. Christian's bag from the car onto the veranda and cried out for help. While on the veranda, he said, "Chris, talk to me," but he was unresponsive. He further testified that someone assisted him to lift Mr. Christian into the car, while Philip walked to the vehicle. The witness said he then rushed both men to the Spanish Town Hospital, where Philip was placed in a wheelchair while porters removed Mr. Christian from the car. The witness said he then went to get Mr. Christian's wife and brought her back to the hospital. He told the court that she later came outside and informed him that her husband had died. According to the witness, he remained at the hospital until police arrived and asked him to accompany them to the station for questioning. At the Spanish Town police station, the witness said officers took a statement from him before transporting him to the Linstead police station, where he was locked up for 3 days. He testified that on the third day, he was taken into a room with his lawyer, police officers, and a justice of the peace, where another statement was taken from him. He was released after. Under cross-examination, the defense for the accused, Lamar Rowe, asked the witness if he was aware that he was being questioned by the police in relation to Mr. Christian's murder. The witness responded, "The mugger questioned me, yes." The defense posed the question again. The witness agreed. "Murder? Yes." The men charged for this incident are Lamar Rowe and Michael Wildman. The trial continues on Tuesday. Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Meantime, on the eve of International Women's Day, Saturday, the San Marino Foundation celebrated with several women at the Peace Garden in Hope Gardens, St. Andrew, under the theme Silent Battles, Unbreakable Women. Crystal Williams tells us more.
The Women's Etiquette Club, an initiative born from the International Women's Celebration, aims to inspire young Jamaican women to carry themselves more gracefully. Project manager for the San Marino Foundation, Paige Dixon, says the green space left women feeling relaxed, adding it's her intention to make green spaces a central part of the club's activities.
So my aim is to create this group, go to different schools, have some school tours, have different initiatives, not just yoga, paint and sip, but it can be almost anything. In this generation, etiquette is slowly depleting, and so we need the strong women, we need the older women to just build that bond, and we have this unbreakable bond, this unbreakable initiative where we can pass on values and respect to generations.
Dixon lauded the influential and powerful women from entities such as the JCF and the JDF for being part of the initiative.
I'm just amazed at the women that came out. These women are from JCF, JDF, from many corporate bodies, the wharves, the embassy, and they're just ready, willing, and waiting to continue to push this message, to build this group and go into the schools and to just pass on this value. And I'm just amazed and I'm happy, and I'm looking forward to a next staging, and it will be happening very soon.
She says this event has inspired her to conceptualize similar future projects. Meanwhile, she made an appeal to women who may be struggling at this time.
In recent times, we have Hurricane Melissa. Many of these women are single moms. We have women in the corporate area that has families in these damaged areas of Jamaica where they have to be bringing in their families to the corporate area to take care of. So a lot of responsibilities are on a lot of these women. And I just want to appeal to the women to just stay strong. Find a group, find a social group, because iron sharpens iron. The women are saying to me that this is something that they've craved for and something that they wish would happen even more. And it has really encouraged me to think about future projects like this.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
Councillor for the Lawrence Tavern Division, John Myers, is raising concerns about the quality of road repairs in the space. He says some recently patched main roads are deteriorating rapidly and is urging the National Works Agency to improve its repair methods. Kevin Black has more.
Councillor for the Lawrence Tavern Division in West Rural St. Andrew, John Myers, is criticizing the National Works Agency, NWA, alleging road repairs on major thoroughfares are not being done properly. His comments came on Friday after Mayor Andrew Swaby and Deputy Mayor Lorraine Dobson visited the area to assess road repair progress.
Yeah. When we do Porcal Road in my division, if you go around and look at the what we get from it for a long time, it is durable more than when they patch the main road. Because as you patch the main road and the rain fall, it's gone. It's almost like you don't do anything. There's something is wrong with how them doing it, or the material where they might use or whatsoever.
Myers says the problem becomes more evident after rainfall, when sections of recently patched roads quickly deteriorate.
Then just put in the liquor mall, and then put in the liquor Baba Green Pantapide, and go so with one liquor roller, and it roll. But when the rain fall, it just gone. And as evidence says you look and you drive on it and you see it. Because even the other day you look again, you see, when the rain fall, they almost drive on them all.
The councillor is now calling on the National Works Agency to increase the oversight of the work being carried out in the area. However, Mayor Swaby explains the KSAMC has a dedicated fund allocated for such matters.
You know, National Work Agency supervisor and the patching program. Me no see them. And me drive on the road and come up, and me concern from Stone Hill coming right up. Our division start Clark Hill, but me concern right up to see the road done properly. So next 2 months, you don't have to patch it again.
Each year, the KSAMC has disbursed funds from its divisional allocation fund to fix roads in divisions. And these are community roads that we are fixing. And we have always been fixing community roads. We don't have enough resources to do much better, but we make sure that whenever there's an allocation, we fix well-needed roads and make sure that the work is done.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Meanwhile, the challenges facing journalism in Jamaica are once again being highlighted. President of the Press Association of Jamaica, Dashan Hendricks, says journalism must be seen as more than just a career, but a public service, especially in an era where misinformation spreads rapidly across digital platforms. He was speaking Saturday at the National Journalism Awards ceremony at the S Hotel in Kingston. Akeem Aret reports.
President of the Press Association of Jamaica, Dashan Hendricks, says journalists are facing increasing pressures to carry out their jobs in an era plagued by mis- and disinformation. Speaking to members of the media fraternity during the association's National Journalism Awards ceremony on Saturday at the S Hotel in Kingston, he noted that journalism today exists in an environment that is constantly evolving.
Across the world, and here in Jamaica, journalism is operating in an environment of profound change. Newsrooms are under financial pressure. Traditional business models are under strain. The speed of the digital environment demands constant adaptation, and journalists are often working under intense scrutiny, public criticism, and at times, direct pressure.
Despite these challenges, he notes that journalists continue to play a critical role in seeking truth and holding those in power to account. However, he argues that if the industry is to remain strong, the environment in which journalists operate must also be strengthened. He pointed specifically to the issue of access to information, noting that media practitioners often face significant challenges when seeking public records.
More than 20 years ago, Jamaica made an important commitment to transparency with the passage of the Access to Information Act 2002, which established the right of citizens to access official documents held by public authorities. The intention of that legislation was clear: to promote government accountability, enhance transparency, and encourage public participation in national decision-making. But more than 2 decades later, it is evident that the law needs updating.
Mr. Hendricks says reform is needed to ensure greater transparency and to better support journalists.
Recommendations for reform have been on the table for years. Reviews have been conducted. Commitments have been made. But meaningful legislation reform has yet to materialize. If Jamaica is serious about strengthening democracy, accountability, then reform of Access to Information Act must become a priority. That reform should address several important issues. We as journalists and citizens of Jamaica in general need clearer standards for exemptions.
Akeem Aret reporting for CVM News.
We take a break. More news in just a moment.
Deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins, and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
Watagwan. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
Every dream conquered is another dream gained. I land and I fly again like a jet plane. Headed straight in your direction, 'cause I'm wiser, one step closer. up to dance. Oh, what a feeling. Don't stop dreaming. Keep on believing in the power of the feeling. Whatever you want, take a chance. Song in your heart, step in your dance. You got a spark, don't put it down. Shine your lights on.
The KFC value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous combo for just $640.
The time by KFC is
7:30.
Welcome back. Expectations are high heading into the 2026-2027 budget debates, where for the first time in 10 years, the government has ended its no new tax approach. While the government insists the budget will not further burden the poor, sections of the business community have expressed concern about increased levies and new taxes that could trickle down to the masses. After Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness appealed to the nation to support the government's post-Melissa $1.4 trillion budget for financial year 2026-2027 to be bolstered by a raft of new taxes, some stakeholders in the business community raised concerns. Among the matters weighing heavily on members of the manufacturing and export sectors, expanded levies and new taxes on non-alcoholic sugary beverages. President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Catherine Silvera, reasons the levies will put local manufacturers at a disadvantage and hopes the issue will be reconsidered before the debates end.
Perhaps she could relook at it against exports, because especially coming out of 2025 with the tariffs being introduced by the US, we saw that the Supreme Court rolled them back, but the president has come out with now across the board 15% tariff. So it is expected that tariffs will continue in 2026. And so we're saying we would like that to be looked at, because we don't want to make our exports uncompetitive.
And although the JMEA boss accepts that there may be a push for a healthier society with sugary drinks taxes, she hopes the government will consider further encouragement to produce low sugar beverages. That aside,
I think in general, we do anticipate to see what other items are going to be discussed during the budget. Since the revenue measures were announced, we would have seen the Middle East challenges with the US and Israel attacking Iran and the repercussions that has had in terms of the oil prices. We've seen that the oil prices per barrel have jumped dramatically over the last 15 days. And that is going to certainly affect not just manufacturing, but Jamaicans in general.
Meanwhile, economist Keenan Faulkner expects a lively debate centered around several critical issues. Among them,
there are several key issues that need to be addressed. For example, the establishment and the operationalization of NARA, the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, because our chronic ability, I should say the inability to execute and exhaust the full capital budget every single year, that will now be, I think, top of the agenda, because accelerated procedures now have to come in to ensure that we rebuild faster, and that because the state apparatus is not really quite agile or fast enough to deal with the scale of the problem.
Citing other critical areas likely to emerge in the debates, he reminds that the country is in a better state to weather storms now than it did before.
We still have wage negotiations that are ongoing, and that poses a significant fiscal risk, because wages consume half our total tax revenue intake. So I think an update there would be necessary. There are other still pressing social issues. Of course, housing is one of the main things that I think potentially the Prime Minister will address more in his presentation than the Minister of Finance. But usually there are some things that you can expect as a matter of course. Of course, the Prime Minister made mention of minimum wage increases. Will that now still materialize in this initial budget, given the constraints that we are under? And also the NHT loan limits, will those be raised again? Of course, we know that the income tax threshold is something that is to be adjusted.
Finance Minister Favour Williams will open the budget debates in Parliament on Tuesday, followed on Thursday by the opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson. A young entrepreneur is turning a natural product into a growing business. Shaunalee King-Gentles launched Ayudat Castor Oil in 2024, offering products aimed at hair and skincare. In tonight's Small Biz, Big Dreams, our reporter Kevin Black introduces us to the woman behind the brand.
Small Biz, Big Dreams is brought to you by Access Financial Services. Tonight, on Small Biz, Big Dreams, we meet an entrepreneur turning a natural product into a growing business. This is Small Biz, Big Dreams. In 2024, Shaunalee King-Gentles decided to turn her interest in natural hair and skincare into a business. Her brand, Ayudat Castor Oil, focuses on producing and selling castor oil, a product well known for its benefits for hair growth, skincare, and overall wellness. She says the business started with a simple idea, providing a natural product people can trust.
Ayudat started from a need. I am a scientist by training, and I realized that Jamaican castor oil has a lot of benefits, but we tend to focus on mainly cosmetics. And I decided that I was going to focus on our overall health and wellness, and then tap into segments that are less trodden by Jamaicans to see if we can compete on a global frontier heavily. We own a farm, and that in itself is a challenge because to get workers, to get seeds when hurricane comes, so there are many factors that are at play, and we have to work through them.
Businesses like Ayudat Castor Oil represent the kind of entrepreneurship driving small business growth across Jamaica. And through initiatives like Small Biz, Big Dreams, Access Financial Services continue to support and highlight micro and small businesses, a sector it has been financing and empowering for years.
Access Financial saw the great need for women in business in Jamaica to access financing. Horizon product is a game changer for Jamaican women in business, for entrepreneurs who wear many hats. We are mothers, we are entrepreneurs, we're on boards, we are parents, daughters, the list goes on. So we have our Jamaican cold pressed castor oil. This is extremely good for not only moisturizing your hair and your skin, but it's an FDA approved laxative. So anybody that bung up and you need something to loosen up your balls, Ayudat cold pressed castor oil. After which we have our Jamaican black castor oil. Now everyone knows that this is a kingpin of castor oil. This is great for regrowth of hair. It's great for strengthening your hair. It's also great for your skin, fine lines, aging. Ayudat black castor oil.
For aspiring entrepreneurs, Shaunalee says starting a business takes courage, hard work, and belief in your product. She encourages young people with business ideas to take the first step and stay committed to their goals.
The Horizon product from Access Financial is a game changer for women in business in Jamaica. We wear many hats and we have so much to think about, we have so much to do, and having a financial institution that really has a product geared for women in Jamaica, what me say, it takes an edge off us. We are located in approximately 30 locations island-wide. First and foremost, we had to big up Proactive Lifestyle. We're in all Proactive Lifestyle locations right across the island. We're located in Case Pharmacy, Chris Cuts and Barber Supplies. We're located up by Kerry's, quite a few stores. Things Jamaican, in Devon House, in the Norman Manley International Airport. We are also located in Gateway Shop by the Donald Sykes International Airport and also by Norman Manley International Airport. So again,